Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
You said something that I think is huge that I wanted to go back to, which is it's a lot of little things that you say to your team. And you're basically what you're talking about is the buzzword. It's culture. You know, it's the culture isn't just a slogan for the year, what you put on a t-shirt, what's on a sign,
right?
What you break out as, it's thousands. It's what Ted Lasso, the guy, says to him in season 3, where he says, I get it. The reason we're going to beat these guys is because of the Lasso way. And he's like, it's the 1,000 little things that you've been saying and doing with this team that allows you, when you're shaping the narrative and the way that they think and the way that they talk, that allows you to play the underdog game, right? To have that stance without it becoming, coach doesn't think we can win. No, when they hear of all of those things that they need to be aware of, that they need to be sharp on, they're going to know that the belief is there because of the thousands of things that you've been saying up to that point.
You got it 100% correct. No question. And I know the rub you're talking about in this, like, here's the best way I can explain it. 20 years ago, I'd say here's how I do it. Well, Matt, you know, we're playing Consumers River. Johnny Jones is averaging 25. I mean, we'll have you start on him. I don't feel good about it. We'll see how you do. And of course, if it's a guy like you, I had one player, his name was Mario Mendoza. He'd go just like this. He'd put his head down, and you could see him start to grind. And of course, he'd go out there and devastate the guy. And now in today's era, it's more like, hey, now listen, I know he's getting 25. Matt, you can guard him. Here's how you can do it. Okay, bottom line.
But acknowledge acknowledge what they're doing. Acknowledge how good he is. Yes. That brings the nerves to the point where it elevates performance, right?
Yes. And again, that's a little bit of a shift where and I had to go to that a little bit more too, but I always knew I had I'm going to call it a blue chipper or a really good player. If I could challenge him and be really free about it, just go, hey, Mike, hey, Mike, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about this matchup with him. Here's why. And then him and again, I'm sorry to keep referencing the book, but
no, it's good.
There's in the book with this kid named Mike McKinney where I told him flat out, and this goes back to Safe Chair, culture of honesty. Culture of honesty. That's what the Safe Chair gives you. So with Mike, he, as a sophomore, shot 40% from the field, not very good at all, and about 30 from 3. And I noticed a couple things I wanted to work with him in the off season. So I went in, I showed him film, went through the whole thing. But here's the crux of the matter. I said, Mike, I don't think you'll ever be a shooter, but I think you'll be a scorer. But I think we can bring you closer to being a shooter. And he went just like this. So you're telling me you don't think I can be a shooter? And I said, no, I think you can get better, but I think you'll always be a scorer. I knew what I was doing flat out. Now, again, this is your personnel. You can't do that with everybody. And he went just like this. Okay, I'll make the change then. Meaning I'll make the change you want because I'm going to show you I can become a shooter. Well, by the time the kid was a senior, over 50% from the field, top 5 guards in the country, 43% from 3. And he shot a boatload of them, wow. 80% from the line. And this is a guy, and I honestly believed he would never be a shooter. He'd always be a scorer. So there's certain guys, you can challenge and by saying, I don't know if you can do that. And certain guys that you might have to say, come on, Matt, look, we just shot 100 threes. You made 70. Come on, Matt. Now, We all know, I know, when you go around the horn and shoot 100 threes shadow, you take 40% off whatever they shoot. That's what they're going to shoot. So if he makes 70, he's going to make 30. He doesn't know that. Matt, you just made 70 from three. 70. Think of that. Do you believe that? 70%. Come on, Matt. Or we'd play another game, the free throw game where you go, you shoot till you miss, and you'll have guys that'll make 88 in a row. You'll have guys that'll make no more than 5 or 6. And they got their head down the whole deal. Go, wait, Mike. How many was the most you made? 4. Oh. Well, what's the most you'll ever have to make in a game?
Yeah.
3. You just made 4. Oh yeah. Okay. See, it's there's always a way, it's hard work and it's this and it's that, but there's always a way to, in my mind, shape their thinking in the way that you want, by the way you talk to them. My opinion.
No, I'm so glad that you brought it back to the safe chair, because that's what my thought was, is the art, maybe the art of coaching is knowing your players well enough to know what makes them tick, what makes them motivated. Not everybody is motivated by the same thing. And I've had to learn that the hard way. My first year as a varsity assistant at Naaman Forest High School in Garland, Texas, I kept saying to everybody, that's not going to work at the next level. That's not going to work at the next level. And I had a senior, he wore rec specs, come up to me and say, no, nothing wrong with that. But he came up to me, he said, Coach, I don't want to play at the next level. And it was my first time of realizing, wait a minute,
right?
Not all of these kids want to be called. And my first reaction was like, why are you doing this then? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, right.
But you have to have things like the safe chair, 10-minute meetings to get to know what drives them, what are their goals, aspirations, or else you're just throwing darts, but you have no idea where the target is. And that's kind of dangerous.
Well, to your point, take that young man who said he didn't want to play at the next level. If you find out that what he really wanted to do was, I'm just going to throw this out, he wanted to run a company and he wanted to have a family. Okay, well, you're going to be a leader. So you're going to have to learn how to lead, and you're going to have to learn how. You think when you're having a meeting with the board of directors and they come up and you're going to have to learn how to make tough decisions and lead. And they ask problems and they say, what are we going to do? Are you going to go, I don't know. It's not on me. It's not. No, we need you to be a lead. You're going to need to be a leader there. I said, God forbid that you have 3 children and your wife gets sick. What are you going to show your children in that moment? Are you going to show them, now this is the time to not be worried? And I'll give you a simple story real quick. My dad had cancer when I was 11, lung cancer. He had a 5% chance to survive. He was 35 years old. He survived for another 31 years. And
Wow.
He's a case study, but here was the thing. We 3 of my brother and sister, we had 100% confidence he was going to come out and be okay, because my mom was never rattled. My mom was, no, they're just going to make a cut in him and they're going to take a spoon and scoop it right out. He's going to be fine. She was calm in the face of adversity. So come back to this young man. You've got to be able to be calm under pressure. You've got to be able to handle problems. At some point in time, you will be in charge. Are you going to come home? Like if my mom had come home, oh my God, and if she broke down and cried, we would have been devastated. I never learned till years later what the odds were of my dad surviving that. It was like, well, if surgery will be fine. Because my mom, the way she modeled it. So again, getting into looking deep into the lion's mouth, whoever that is, what motivates them, what they want to do beyond high school or the time you have them. I think that you make a fantastic point that you've got to figure out what motivates them, and then you can motivate them by relating their experience back to that.
Besides things like the safe chair, what were some other ways that you met with players?
Well, I I used to laugh. I probably met with my players more than anybody in the country. And I do mean that seriously. I love doing it. I loved having meetings. I loved interacting with them. And I didn't make things up. There was always reasons to. There was, this, that, but I wanted to do it before practice. I did not like it after practice. I felt like they're tired, they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're not listening. I want to do it before so then they can get out there and enact what we just talked about. If it was watching some film, if it was going, okay, now look, let's talk about this week coming up. Now, Portland State's going to trap the on ball. So we really got to work against that. Now, here's the thing, real simple. When they do, you got to be able to, we called it the Stockton dribble. John Stockton, pull back, create space, eyes up, and attack the other side with your eyes up. That whole, go through it. So they're ready beforehand. I love that. The other thing we would do is, you're going to laugh, I love to meet with a guy on off days or even Sundays. And here's the reason why. Because you're telling them you're really important. I would say to them too, let's say I met with them at 8 a.m. on a Sunday at the office. I got 5 children, right? I got a wife, right? This is probably the only day of the week they get to see me, right? But I'm sitting here with you. Why is that? I don't know. Well, because
you matter. Yeah.
And I mean, and what are we doing right now? And we're investing in each other. Investing in each other. It says to them, you're important. You matter. Now, here's the other thing. And I used to joke with my players and staff. I'd say, I guarantee you, I led the nation in assists amongst Division I head coaches because I love to work out with our guys. I love to meet our guys before practice. Nothing means more. Now go back for a minute when you're in college. I don't even want to judge that. Head coaches, I was going to say, did Coach Bliss ever work out one-on-one with you? Probably not. Here's the point. I don't want to get into that. When I'm working with you, I'm the head coach. You're saying, wow, I must really matter. And you're getting a direct message. And again, it comes back to time invested and all of that. Now, I don't tell my assistants you can't work with guys. They can work with them all they want. But, and when it really is important? When the guy's struggling.
Yeah.
Hit him up before and go. And you go, hey, meet me at the gym 30 minutes before. I want to go over a few things. So you get there and you talk about a couple things, and then boom, now you're working. You got energy. You're hustling. You're working. You're sweating. You're in there. Sweat equity. Boom, boom. You're working harder than he is. The whole thing. Boom. You make it fun. All of a sudden, bing, bang, bong. And then you go. And of course, you're also practicing shots he will shoot in the game. So it's clear role declarations, shot select. You don't work on anything you wouldn't do in a game. And now, so it's twofold. But by the end of it, the message, again, subliminal, is, God, he got here early to work with me. I must really matter. He must really believe in me. And I'm telling you, now that morphs into about giving players confidence. That's a real way to give them confidence. And so, but I love that. I loved every part of that. I didn't want to be the CEO. I came up as a high school guy and a JC guy, hands-on. I wanted to be in the mix. I loved coaching. I loved teaching. And I believed I could help guys to become better.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.